Take your time. We're live now, so just don't get naked or anything. Not on this platform. On Kick, maybe, but not here. All right. Here. Yeah, I don't know which camera I like better. Now this one's not going to work. Nope. Nope, that one just doesn't work. All right, this is the one then.
It's not working at all?
I think the other one is being captured by OBS.
Yeah.
It's not like the end of the world, but...
Oh, TwitchCon. TwitchCon tickets also.
Oh. TwitchCon.
Hot on the street. JB.
Where are we at here? JB, what the fuck is good? King, I hope that you're doing well, JB. I know that you said you had some shit that you had to take care of. I know you said you had some shit going on. I'm gonna close my door right here so I don't wake my kid up. Oh shit. Hold on 1 second. Wait 1 second.
Gabi. Lundo. Y'all hear about cocaine? Cocaine. I just said cocaine. Cocaine shark in Florida. Nah, but that's just that's just people and just the whole entire population.
They're called New England retirees. I gotta switch the laundry over real quick so Tiggy just entertain everybody.
Gotcha. We're chilling. We're chilling. Now this is the part of the pre-show where you have my undivided attention here, ladies and gentlemen. My undivided attention. I will answer any question, how embarrassing it might be. I'll take it on. Head on. Head home some. I have no idea how to pronounce that word. Braccioli. Braccioli? I'm going to say braccioli while listening to the pod. Perfect ending to that work day. Braccioli. That's what I'm going to go with. JB, let me know if I pronounced that correctly. Braccioli. I also know sometimes my voice is low or high. Let me know if it's... I don't like my mic showing. I don't like the tip of the mic showing. Oh man.
Yo, yo, yo. Yeah, it's Brajol.
Brajol? Okay, I said Brasholi.
JB headed home to some Brajol while listening to the pod. Perfect ending to the workday. Absolutely. Love that. I was just laughing to myself in the laundry room.
Oh, can you hear me?
Say Brasholi.
Are
Perfect.
those is that a new headset?
Oh no, I've had these. The A50s.
No.
You know I'm an
Yeah.
Astro boy.
Yeah. R.I.P. in peace.
Is Astro the company dead?
I think so. Yeah, Astro has shut down their esports, and I think just like the esports headset division, I think they were bought out by Corsair a couple years ago, and they were under the
Really?
Corsair brand. But I think Astro as a brand is done right now. So A50 is going to be the last headset Astro are making.
Last of the Mohicans right here, dude. This
That's
is it, dude. This is
yeah, that's
come
it.
on.
It's gonna be in the museum soon
Belongs in a museum.
in the
Absolutely.
in, in Columbus, Ohio, where MLG started up.
Dude, the very first like PAX that I ever went to was like when people were like they had the Astro A50s around their neck like this. They would have the wired ones. They'd have the esports like the MLG jerseys, the Gunner glasses. It was like
The Gunner optics.
dude, the Gunners, the A50s or like the A25s or whatever they were.
Yeah.
Like just so they were ready, they could sit down and just whip it out at any like whip out the controller and go to town at any moment.
They hop on the game station like, no, I brought my own. I brought my
Yeah,
own. They pull out
no,
their
it's
own
fine.
controller. That.
Exactly. Does anybody have a micro USB cable I can borrow? Fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. What an era. What an
I
era.
brought, I brought my Cronus. Does that work here? Or?
Yeah. Oh Christ. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's see here. What do we have? We had old CODs coming to Game Pass. Overwatch League might be dead, and then devs are already making excuses that their game's never going to be as good as Baldur's Gate 3. So, on this episode of Not Another Gaming Podcast, we have developers that are already making excuses that their game is not going to be as good as Baldur's Gate 3, no matter how hard they try. The Activision and Microsoft deal is done, and now old Call of Duties could be making their way to Game Pass. And last but not least, the Overwatch League may be dead, but is it buried? We will find out soon enough. All that and more on episode 346 of Not Another Gaming Podcast.
You are now listening to the #1 gaming podcast on these internet streets. And now, Not Another Gaming Podcast with your boys, Papa Dom, Dr. Bob, and Chris P.
Yo, welcome back to Not Another Gaming Podcast. It's your boy Papa Dom. We're live direct back here on these internet streets, and you know we're handsome as hell. And we're back once again, back to back, like the cover of Lethal Weapon, with my man, my friend, and yours. I think you gotta go the other way. Wait, go the other way. Go the other way. That's where you are on my Discord screen. Back your thing up though. Can you back up to the other side? Yeah. And we'll just do like a little. Back to back, like the cover of Lethal Weapon, the one and only Tiggy Nation. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you again for the invite. I'm feeling fantastic. I got myself a little Coca-Cola Zero Ultimate XP League of Legends edition. And we're getting it cracked and we're getting ready to go here.
Wow. What is the caffeine content? What's the caffeine content?
Caffeine content ranging at I don't know why I said ranging. It should just be a solid number.
It shouldn't be like an either or.
I honestly can't see it. It says scan for info, so I got to scan it on the smart label. Give me a sec. I'll do that, but it's XP flavored, extra XP.
I mean, you do feel more experienced as you're going through, as you're making your way from top to bottom in that bottle.
I can solely feel my life just slowly being sucked out of me, and I can't believe I just scanned a QR code on my Coca-Cola. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you're just hungry for knowledge or thirsty for knowledge. That's all. Aspartame, big aspartame podcast. Not another carcinogen podcast. We're fucking rolling along, dude. I've been crushing the juvies. I don't know if you've had any juvies yet, man, but those are good.
I've had the initial. Whenever they initially came out, I got like the 3 variety pack or whatever, and I think they were doing like 25% off or something. So I got a couple cases, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
The juvies are nice. I'm not a big energy drink guy, but the juvies are nice. They're like $130 milligrams, 137 or something like that, right? Nothing. Give it.
It's like 137 and a half. So that plays the range.
Yeah. So it's like 120, 130. It's like a big cup of coffee, which is good, which is great. I like a good. I'll do like a medium or large cold brew first thing in the morning, and then 3-ish. You mix in like either a sugar-free Red Bull, or if I'm home where the juvies are, because I don't bring them shits to the office because I'm not trying to get them stolen. Because somebody's gonna see that in the work fridge, and that it's gone. It's gone. And I also don't want to explain it to people. Like, people can be like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, well, like 100 Thieves own it. And then they're like, what's that? And I go, oh, well, it's, Nade Shot owns it. And they're like, who's that? And I'm like, well, he used to work at McDonald's. Now he has an energy drink called Juvie. And, like, stop asking me questions. But, yeah. So it's usually coffee first thing in the morning. I'll hit a wall around 3:30. Mix in the energy drink. That'll take me until, like, 8. And then it's, like, episode of Jack Ryan. Feed the baby. Go to bed. That's the routine. So, but how are you, Tiggy? How was your weekend? Let's start there. How was your weekend?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
My weekend.
Since I last spoke.
My weekend was fantastic. We just came off a big, huge golf win last time we talked. After that, we were feeling really good. Went into the weekend, and it was actually the end of the League of Legends split happening. They've never split a season like they have now. To where they literally cut the ranks in the middle of the summer, which is actually great because, halfway, the season is literally like 8 months long. So at a point, everyone stops caring. So the fact that they're going to cut it in half, they're going to get people to grind. And I was on the edge, teetering towards silver. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to lean a little forward here, take a little back depreciation, and I'm going to grind up and I'm going to get to silver. And, naturally, I only play one character, and that is Mr. Heimerdinger. Mr. Heimerdinger. I play Heimerdinger support in bronze, and I tell you, I feel bad for those bronze bot lanes, mine and theirs. But I was really playing well, getting a lot of S's, but not a lot of wins. It's tough to carry as a support.
Yeah.
But I felt like I put my team in positions, but it ends up I stagnated at bronze 1, but just a little extra gold to give me for this fall season.
That's good. All right, so you're gonna be ready. You're gonna be ready then when the fall season kicks off. You'll be ready for them. But will they be ready for you? Is the ultimate question, really?
They're not going to be ready for me if they keep giving me these XP flavored inspired Coca-Cola Zeros. There's no chance. It
inspires you, like you get like a double XP boost in life. You feel like you're like taking in more information. Like, you might get a promotion if you crush enough of those.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you know the meme where it's like the AI getting the power through the brain. Yeah, I'm on I think like level 2 right now of that with just one of these. So the more and more consummating. Maybe I'll get into the juvie here in a little bit. Maybe I'll get back on that juvie train. Might be level 3 or 4. I don't know.
Yeah, you have right now. It's like there's like the guy reading the book. It's the skeleton like reading the book. And then it's like the one with like the little like the neurons going around, and then it's like the galaxy one, and then there's one with like he's in the like the meditation position, and there's like planets around him and shit. That's once you get like 700 milligrams of caffeine in one day on the brink of OD, like where your heart's about to stop, but there's like gonna be that sweet spot. We don't recommend doing that. Don't. This is for trained professionals only, and we know not all of you are built for that. So, but that's good. So any more golf wins this weekend, or was this was it kind of a one time? This was you got a break.
Yeah, a little break here. I might be playing this weekend, depending on some certain stipulations. But yeah, took the weekend off, trying to recoup. Next time I'll play is a couple weeks for the squadron, so we'll see. I'm just gonna try to practice my short game. My second shot needs work. Drive incredible, putting pretty good. That second shot, I need to figure something out. I might have to take a little chunk out of my ego and just bump and run it or something. I don't know. I need to figure out something.
That's kind of the weakest part of my game too, is that second shot, and that second shot breaks me on pretty much the entire back nine. Like that second shot, I'm always like, all right, I can't drive that far, so I'm stuck between like, do I hit, a low iron or a hybrid or something like that, something comfortable. But then I'll either whiff my hybrid or I'll take a chunk out with an iron, and then I'm like just demoralized, and it just kills my drive for the rest of the hole, for like the rest of that entire hole. Then I'm 3 or 4 putt, and it's just a bad day all around. I'm like on the verge of throwing my clubs into the pond. So I'm not good at all at golf anyway, but that's a day killer right there. Yeah. Especially if you have a couple bad second shots, it's like, you know what? I'm going back in the golf cart. I'm gonna crack a beer. I'm gonna think about what I've done in life, and then maybe I'll get back to you guys on like the 10th or 11th hole. So
absolutely.
Yeah, as for me, what did I do this past weekend? I have to do this every week now. I literally have to like look at my calendar to figure out what I did this past weekend. It actually wasn't that eventful. Went to a friend's barbecue. Otherwise just kind of like putzed around. Didn't really do too much. Where did we go? What did we do this weekend? Nothing. I think I just cooked. I cooked at home. We hung out. I played some Fallout 76. Big fan of Fallout 76 right now. It's like scratching. I told Bob this, but I can't tell Bob about games like Fallout 76 because he just goes and then he stops listening. So Fallout is one of those games where like you just need to play Fallout to scratch that itch. Like there's nothing that I can play that's gonna make me feel like satiated if I need that specific vibe of the game. Like I feel like maybe if you want to play COD or you want to play Warzone, like you could probably play another Battle Royale, or you could play another like Modern War or World War II shooter or something like that, and maybe you get that same kind of vibe if you're frustrated with COD. But Fallout is like, I need to play Fallout if I need to play Fallout. I also played some Exoprimal. I don't know if have you tried Exoprimal at all?
No, have no idea. Explain. Well, I take that back. I absolutely know what Exoprimal is, but for the viewers and listeners at home,
for the kids
they
at
don't
home,
know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For the kids at home, so Exoprimal is from Capcom, and it plays like a AAA game, but the concept and like the structure of it is it screams like indie type of idea, because it's kind of a stupid fucking idea. Like you're in robot suits and you shoot dinosaurs, and it's like a horde mode type of game, but it's a race. So there's 2 teams of 5. And then basically I think there's 5 waves where you kill a bunch of dinosaurs, and it's like the first team to the end either wins, or there's a separate game mode where there's a PvP element where you race them, and then you have to kind of like push a payload in that last phase of the game. And then, the first team to get the payload all the way to the end wins. So it's kind of like the game modes take a complete spin at the end, which is really nice. So there's been some criticism of it just because it is a free to play game if you have Game Pass. It's not free if you don't. It is kind of a flimsy. It has kind of a flimsy model to it, where there really is only kind of like 1.5 game modes, and everything else is very Battle Pass centric, very microtransaction centric. If you have Game Pass, I would say absolutely play it. It's like the ideal Game Pass game because there's no there's no like buyer's remorse, but if you were buying it expecting like a full $70 game experience, it's probably not there. But it is cool. There is a ton of polish. The combat is great. I really do enjoy the the recurring elements in like the gameplay loop. I don't think you unlock stuff fast enough, so it's not enough to really get me really, really hooked to the point where I really want to play it like non-stop. But yeah, Exoprimal, pretty good. Not great. I don't think it's like phenomenal. It's not like a game changer. It reminds me of, you ever play Mass Effect 3?
No, but I have seen it. Obviously, I've seen it. Obviously.
All right, so Mass Effect 3. If you've ever played Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, it's just like that, where it's a horde mode co-op type game. It's a cool like co-op third-person shooter. So if you want to fuck around and shoot dinosaurs, you just do that. I think if you stop it there, if you stop the analysis of the game at like I'm just gonna shoot 90,000 dinosaurs and then have a day for myself, the game's great. If you look any further into it, you're gonna start seeing things that you don't like. But I think if you just want like a quick fix for like a horde mode third person co-op shooter, it's a nice little way to wet the beak, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I do that with Destiny. You know, I just hop in and just shoot hordes and hordes and hordes. I don't play PvP because it's terrible, and there's bug abusers and cheaters the whole time. So it's like, it's a game I could possibly just love to jump in, turn the brain off, throw some tunes on, and just vibe.
There you go. Yeah. So one thing I am looking forward to, actually, speaking of Destiny, is, and JB, I totally agree. I was just talking to somebody else about this, where like I need them to, like, even if they just released Gears as like a free-to-play horde mode game or something like that without a story mode to it, I would play that nonstop. I do miss playing Gears a lot. One thing that I think you'd be excited about, Tiggy, is Remnant 2. I don't know if you've heard of Remnant 2 or if you're familiar with it.
Okay.
So Remnant from the Ashes, Gunfire Games is the developer. That came out a couple years ago. It's like a Dark Souls with guns type deal, but there was some looter shooter elements. And the second one is coming out this week. And it's coming out to rave reviews, a lot of 9s and like 8s and 9s across the board.
What does IGN rate it?
A 9.
Oh,
it's a big one.
Okay,
that's a big one. And so the guy who reviewed Remnant 2 for IGN, Travis Northrup, he's a huge Destiny 2 guy, and he's a big Dark Souls guy as well. And so he was basically like, this is like looter shooter heaven, and there's like a lot of like build crafting that you can do. And the coolest thing is that I think there's like 5 or 6 classes, and then once you get to a certain point in the game, you can have a hybrid class of any of the 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the shit seems pretty dope. I already bought it. I don't think you can preload it on PC yet, but it looks sick. Bob tried to discourage me a little bit. He was like, it's hard. It's like Dark Souls with guns, so like just be ready for that. And I'm like, dude, well, there's like, that's why you play co-op. Like, I'll play with you, and then you can carry me, and then I'll have fun. So, but there's difficulty settings in it. So it's not just like you jump in, get your dick kicked in, and there's like nothing you could do about it. There's actually difficulty settings in Remnant 2. So you can play, I assume you can play at like a pace that's comfortable for you. So like, if you want to get the story or just want to like shoot zombies, alien tree monsters, which I think are the main enemy type in that game, that you can do it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at I'm looking at photos right now, and it looks so much like Destiny, and then there's like elements of like cross pollination, like like Pokemon, like breeding or something like that, and it seems really cool. The armor, I mean, they have like a cowboy-esque armor where they've had that in Destiny and stuff, so it seems really cool, and even like some of the enemies look very similar to Destiny. Yeah. This is like right up my alley. I love just like little co-op games. You just hop in with your friends and just shoot shit. So this is really cool. It doesn't remind me, but when you said Gears of War, I always think of Army of Two as well, which is like such a cool co-op game. Which like, dude, I love like story mode games, but I don't like playing it by myself. I want to do co-op. Like the fact that Call of Duty, even though I hate talking about, no one likes talking about Call of Duty here, but Call of Duty campaign, they used to have co-op, and that was such a fun thing you can do. And it's like, I would love to do the missions with my friends.
Yes.
Like with other people. It's cool. So the fact that this is there, Army of Two, incredible game. It's like stuff like that, especially with how accessible everyone is in the world.
Where's my Army of Two reboot?
Accessible.
Where is
the Army of Two?
Where is my Army of Two reboot?
Come on. They got it somewhere.
You mean to tell me they wouldn't slap a battle pass on that, so the masks that you get, you got to buy the masks? Come on.
Yeah.
The game writes itself. The game puts itself together.
You'll be changing masks like Hollywood Undead singers, It's going to be awesome. I mean, and it just, I've written about this. I've complained about this. The fact that Hogwarts Legacy is not a co-op game by any means is such a travesty, and I will stand on that hill.
It really is.
And I keep hearing how great of a game it is, and that's awesome. But if I can't play with my friends, if I can't freaking put my enemies and Sector Semprum up by their feet, I don't want to do them.
No. What the fuck is the point? What is the fucking point? The whole...
Damn you, JK. Damn you, JK.
Truly, I mean, where do the atrocities end? I mean, where do the atrocities end? Seriously, fuck her though. It's not bad enough that you're just a terrible person and you have a horrible worldview on things. You couldn't have used threw some of your weight around to make the game co-op.
No.
people are choking down your shitty worldviews to play your fucking game, and you can't even make it so more than one person can play it at once. And then there was like, oh, they rumored that Quidditch was going to come to the game, and they were like, dude, Quidditch is going to come to the game. That's going to be the co-op mode. All right, all right, you know, not great, but I'll play it. They go, yeah, Quidditch game is coming out. Oh, it's a separate game. It's a whole different fucking $70 experience. So
$70. Get ready, more battle pass, and guess what? You might like it might not. It might be like FIFA, or no, I don't think it's FIFA, but maybe you can only play with one other person. You can't play with like a full team or something. It's like it's gonna be something dumb like that. But the fact that a Quidditch game is coming out, very excited.
Yeah, in the words of Ludacris, blow it out your ass. Is how I feel about it. Don't give me a fucking whole separate game, dude. You just dropped this insane quadruple A game. You can't just tack on Quidditch to it, my boy. You can't do that for me.
Should probably just fly around a bit. Come on.
Unfucking believable. You already have the mechanic. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm going to get fucking upset. Anyway, speaking of things that people get upset about, Call of Duty is coming to Game Pass now that the Activision Blizzard King acquisition has been completed. So the word on the street is that the Big M, Microsoft, Phil Spencer, is going to have the old CODs available on Game Pass. So, Tiggy, you are the resident COD enthusiast on this call right now. How do you feel about this, and what does this mean for the current Call of Duties? Like, I mean, are we just? I mean, what's going on?
So my thoughts initially. So obviously last week we talked about the merger and stuff, and it's like I don't think the servers were active for Xbox. I think that happened after the episode dropped. So obviously we were excited. Microsoft coming over, and it could be Game Pass awesome. But apparently Microsoft fixed the old Xbox servers. Somehow these Xbox servers are still live, still thriving, which is awesome because every new game of Call of Duty that comes out, they remove rank play from the previous one. So even if it was a better game and people still play it, they don't care. Nope, you're forced to play the new one if you want to play ranked. The PC servers are very much hacked and terrible, and you're going to get your IP stolen. But the Xbox versions of the game, which are now backwards compatible with all generations, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S, Series X, you can play Call of Duty World at War, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. They all have like 10,000 people in the games and stuff, which is incredible to see.
Lively. That's a pretty lively server for a game that's like 10 years old.
Absolutely. And it just shows how, like, what the community wants for a game that we're willing to play, like, games literally like a decade plus in the past. So I think it does put very much pressure on the new game multiplayer experience. Obviously, the Warzone people, all the creators that play Warzone, are still going to be playing the Warzone stuff. But I thought it was super cool that these ones came out. And as soon as they come to Game Pass, that same day, I will be purchasing an Xbox Series S. Mm-hmm. And I will be re-downloading all of those games, and I will be playing the shit ton of them. I'm very excited.
Yep. I mean, listen, I mean, there's so many people that are just like, I miss this COD, I miss that COD. Bring me back to the glory days of whatever this COD is. Not Another Gaming Podcast emeritus Chris P has frequently posted like, take me back to COD Vanguard. I mean, people are getting desperate out here, and it's a vicious cycle. We won't go over the whole Call of Duty Circle of Life again. Mm-hmm. Not yet. That's like next month. Next month is when it's time to do that, because then we're gonna get more Modern Warfare 3 information, and I'll explain it. And I'm gonna point out right now that there's a lot. And don't think I don't see you. There's a lot of Twitter accounts out there that are copying that shit. There's a lot of them out there. And I will start naming names. And I will start claiming dependents when I got to file my fucking taxes next year. Don't you worry about that.
The list is getting big.
Is there ever a list? So Game Pass servers are alive. You can play. I mean, somebody just dusted off their old like cigarette smoke stained Xbox 360 to play World at War right now. Somewhere in the world that's happening right this second. And you know what? I might just join them. Maybe I'll just join them. I'll go take out my cigarette smoke stained Xbox 360 out of my closet wrap it in some towels, get it going, do give it chest compressions, and you know what I mean. Honest to God,
yeah.
that's how you know. That's how you know how long me and my wife have been together, because she remembers that. She's like, "Remember when you used to have to wrap your Xbox in like towels?" So what was that all about? And I'm like, "That's one of these days. I'm gonna, you know what? That's how my son. That's how he's gonna earn his first game console. I'm gonna give him a red ring Xbox 360. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be like, we can play Castle Crashers together or something like that. Here's a red ringed Xbox 360. Figure it out. Figure out how to get it working, and then if you figure it out, I'll buy an Xbox Series Quadruple X or whatever the fuck they're gonna be called back then, or then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'll do. Figure out how to do it, and we'll get you going.
Let me ask, with the discs, what did you do to clean the discs? Because a lot of people had different methods to clean the discs.
Oof. What did I do? Okay, so there's a go-to method, and this is what I used to do. My dad actually was telling me about this, because this is what he did with his CDs. Is he would put toothpaste on them.
Oh.
So what I would do is I'd clean them with like Windex. I'd Windex them, give them the old shirt treatment, right? Yeah. I'd put some toothpaste on them, and I would use an old toothbrush, because it fills in the cracks in the game, so that it kind of doesn't skip. That's what it does with a CD anyway.
Okay.
Fill in with the toothpaste. I'd wipe it down, and then I'd wash it again. I'd let it kind of dry, and I'd wash it again, and that would work. But back in the GameCube days, back when my little brother was a lot younger and would legit destroy the games that I had, I used to have this thing that you would like crank. You would put the little spray material on it, and you would put it in like a wheel, and you'd like crank it, and it would buff the thing. I bought it at like EB Games.
Yeah. Shout out Electronic Boutique Games.
Shout out to Funko Land. Shout out Electronic Boutique. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a little CD buffer thing, and it had a big wheel and a crank, and it would like press the material into it. It was probably the biggest fucking like scam going, but it worked.
Yeah,
it worked. It got like, I had a copy of Metroid Prime that was scratched. It looked like, I mean, it just, I don't even know. Just like look at the top of Yoda's face. It was like all just lines all over it. You know what I mean? And I mean, it happened. It happened. It had more scratches than a fucking DJ Premier set, and it worked. What about you? What was your go-to method?
So what I don't know why I did this. I've never seen anyone do this, but for some reason I'm just either lazy or disgusting. But the disc would come out, and I'd be like, "Oh shit!" Washing it with any sort of soap or anything was absolute last resort. I need to resuscitate. It's dying on the table. What my go-to? I would take it out, and I literally would lick the disc. I would lick the disc and then clean on my shirt back in.
Okay.
And I'd say I had probably an 80+% success rate, honestly.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen, that's an unconventional one. I will tell you that. I'm not going to be the first or last person to tell you that, but that's an unconventional method. But I'm glad that it worked. Whatever works, honestly. It's one of those things that, like, if it works, fuck it. There is no method too strange when it comes to, continuity and making sure that you're playing a game. And, like, I'm just glad that, if you busted a game or something like that, it didn't mean that your entire game was just fucked, because obviously you had memory cards. Because I can't imagine how many... Oh, dude, the circle scratch on the 360? You ever accidentally, like, move your thing and you go... It sounds like a fucking skill saw. Oof.
Yeah. Remember, you couldn't move the system with the games in, too.
No, you could.
If you move your system from one room to the other, you had a game in it, trashed.
Boned.
Done.
I remember seeing I think it was an Xbox One, like, E3 demo unit, and some reviewer was like, "Oh, does it still do that thing where he like tilted the Xbox and it went rant?" And he was like, "Oh shit, yeah, it does." Oh my god, I'll never forget that for as long as I live. But when I used to work at GameStop, people thought they were slick, dude. They would try to return the discs to me with the circle scratch on it, like the day after a new COD came out. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, I actually just don't like it. I want to return it." And you can't return new games anyway. But I check the disc and I go, "Oh," I'm like, "Dude, that you can't fucking return that shit. Like, what are you doing?" You think I'm gonna take that? It's gonna. It looks like you just cut a tree down. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
That's crazy.
But
The amount of shit that people will try to get away with.
it's unbelievable. Gaming is just truly not what it used to be. And there's a couple of people that are actually a little afraid about the future of gaming, Tiggy, because we have some bangers on the horizon. We have Baldur's Gate 3 from
Boom.
Larian Studios. That is coming out very soon. And there are some developers who are already kind of going on the defensive right now because Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out, that please don't apply criticism using Baldur's Gate 3 or use it as a raised standard for RPGs going forward because the game is going to be too good. So I'm going to expand upon this and I want to get your thoughts.
Okay.
So there's a Twitter thread by an indie developer that the original tweet is, like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited for what the lovely folks at Larian have accomplished with Baldur's Gate 3, but I want to gently, preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a raised standard to role-playing games moving forward. And now then there's a whole putting it gently is not making a 10-tweet thread, by the way. There's a 10-tweet thread, and the bullet points are this: that it had a long development cycle that started in 2017, that their two previous games, both Divinity games, gave them a good foundation to work off of, that they had an early access period, a very long early access period that was very successful. They have a huge development team, and that they also have the license for one of the biggest entertainment IPs out there, which is Dungeons and Dragons. So because of that, this is why this developer is saying they are like, don't say that like this is creating the new standard for RPGs, and don't base any criticism for other RPGs. Don't compare us to Baldur's Gate 3 because it's going to be too good. It's going to be an anomaly, is what he said. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it just sounds like the biggest cop out from every other competition already thrown in the towel, saying, well, you don't compare our game to this one because this one's supposed to be really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Just seems like, I don't know, kind of pathetic. It's kind of like back in the day, teams would almost fight for second place in the AFC. Going to football terms, I mean, it's like, oh, well, we didn't beat the Patriots this year, but hey, we made it to the AFC Championship. It's like, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is a tough one for me because there's obviously, I mean, I think it's easy for me to be like why are you even getting out in front of this? Like if you're not even in the same lane as this game, and you don't have a game that's going to like directly compete with it. This is like, hold on, Miller wants to come in.
Gotcha. Well, I think too. What if potentially, Miller alert? What if potentially these tweets and these writers have been paid off by Larian Studios?
Maybe to generate the hype.
Solely to bring the hype, because it's like they're promoting Baldur's Gate 3 by doing this.
Right. No, totally. I mean, that's my thing is like, so first of all, like, you're getting out there and you jump out into the middle of the street and you're like, listen, just because Tesla is coming out with this thing, I don't want you to judge my bicycle. You know what I mean? Like, this is not the new standard for transportation. So don't judge what I'm doing. And I'm not saying I've never played this indie developer's games. I'm sure that they are phenomenal. I'm sure they do great stuff. And I love a good indie game. Don't get me wrong. And I love a good indie RPG too. Yeah. And also Miller, like, fucking thanks, dude. Thanks for nothing. He just came in here to like make sure I was still home. But like the indie devs that are like, hey, whoa, don't expect this out of a 40-person team. Don't expect this out of a 10-person team. Nobody's expecting that.
Yeah.
And I think the problem, like, if there's people that are like, whoa, this is nowhere near Baldur's Gate 3, and it's like an indie, top-down, pixel art role-playing game, you got a mental handicap. You got a mental problem. There's a bigger issue that needs to be addressed, and you probably need to see a psychiatrist if you're reasonably expecting an indie RPG from a 12-person team to be compared to something like this.
Yeah.
But then again, in that same vein, like, what's the gold standard for RPGs? Skyrim, Knights of the Old Republic, you know, I World of Warcraft, um,
Old school RuneScape.
old school RuneScape. The list goes on, right? There's a million of these games that are like the cornerstones of a genre that are that is. But there can be a 10 in an indie game, and there can be a 10. I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to end up being a 10 game. It's going to be fucking phenomenal. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a non-issue. I don't think anybody's going to actually do that. The team has worked their ass off, and this thread to me, and feel free to disagree. This thread to me feels like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of inadvertently discrediting that team with being like, well, you had unlimited resources and you had lots of money and you had, you have a great IP or whatever, but like they earned the right to use the Dungeons and Dragons IP with Divinity, and like they're a big studio and they're getting all this money because of that. Like I feel like they're kind of discrediting this team. I don't think that's the intention of the tweet, but I don't know. How am I off base here, or do you feel like that's
No.
Do you feel like that's up there?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, these guys grinded and they worked for, the additional resources, the money coming in, and that's what happens with every story. Yet you have one company that busted their ass years and years ago, struck it big, and is now continuing to use those resources that they've earned in the past. It's like it just sounds like a bunch of haters, just being like
a bunch of horse hockey, if you ask me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, and like you said, they're discrediting themselves, and I don't know. It's almost like them just keep saying, "Yeah, don't expect us." I don't know. It's just so weird, and it only drives me to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, hey, listen, we know that this game is going to be one of the best RPGs ever made. Don't expect us to ever make anything like that. How do you expect to ever make something like that if you talk that way?
Yeah.
And you know what I would say instead? And listen, I'm not telling somebody how to run their company. And again, I'm sure that they make a phenomenal product. Is like, we're going to make the Baldur's Gate 3 of indie games. And it's not going to be on the same scale, but like we want to blow people's minds with what a 10-person team can do, but at that scale. Yeah. Why wouldn't you say something like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't think that, and I don't think anybody's going to buy Baldur's Gate 3 and then say, whoa, well, Dingleberry Studios with a dozen people, based out of a WeWork in Seattle isn't making anything like this. Those guys suck. Nobody's saying that. They know that this is a massive undertaking. Nobody's going to go play, people, like, up until they really got, like, the VC funding and stuff like that, people weren't like, whoa, well, Splitgate's never going to be able to do what Halo or COD does. But then it did. And because but they got a ton of angel investors, and they got a ton of, like, now they're going off and making a whole different game, which I hope ends up being a massive banger, because they're starting a whole, I think it's 1047 Studios, the guys that made Splitgate. It was 2 guys, and Splitgate was in development for like forever. So I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I believe me, love an indie game, love indies, love indie studios. I love all of you. You guys are the fucking backbone of video games. But nobody's making those comparisons, and I think that's just like it's kind of a silly thread to throw out there and be like, hey, make sure that you don't do this. If there are actually people that are doing that, just message them or text them or email them and be like, go get your head checked. That's what I would say.
There's probably not too many, so you absolutely could do that.
You can fit them all in one text thread. But yeah, speaking of things that there aren't many of, there may not be that many seasons left for Overwatch League. There might only be one.
Yep.
Are you privy to the Overwatch League situation, Tiggy?
I am very privy to the situation. Have I watched the Overleague ever? No. But
can you give the people a little rundown on what's going on, or do you want me to set the table?
So, from my understanding, Overwatch League, obviously there's been some concerns, just Activision as a whole, what they've done with the franchise model with Overwatch and now Call of Duty. A lot of investors are not happy. They had a meeting with some owners a couple months ago, actually, talking about somewhat the future of the league. I'm going to try to find some numbers on how many people actually watch the Overwatch League. I can talk definitely more on the Call of Duty side, whereas, every major we're going to have like 100,000, sometimes 200,000, depending if like Optic and FaZe are in the finals. But, obviously with the Overwatch League, they talked about the future, and now they are they're laying people off officially from the esports division of the whole thing. And also they are offering each team if they no longer wish to continue participating in the Overwatch League, Activision will give them $6 million of their initial investment back as somewhat sort of like recoupment of
They're giving them their first and last and their security deposit back. They're getting the security deposit back from OWL.
Yeah, so that's my understanding. Did I miss any details there, Dom? Or?
No, I mean I think that's pretty much sums it up. I mean, basically, Activision Blizzard is going to be saddled with like $114 million that they have to pay back to these organizations if they end up going through with the termination. And teams will be voting on whether or not to end the league completely at the end of the current season. This is the same league that opened up the Activision Arena in California. They like really kind of set the standard for like the city-based franchise model, at least in the US. And now they have like, I mean, they're kind of like ringing their own death bell here, where they're like, these new terms will mean that following the conclusion of the current Overwatch League season, the teams will vote on an updated operating agreement, which includes like a clause to just bow out. And so the whole ecosystem is struggling. Overwatch 2 didn't really do a whole lot to like bring the game's audience back together. And I mean, we're only like 5 years, 5-6 years in. This is like the 5th season for Overwatch League. I mean, it's not that like, I mean, they were pretty big 2017, 2018, 2019, but the last couple of years have just been kind of flatlining. So, I mean, it's been Overwatch itself has been declining player base wise, and now Overwatch League obviously is following suit. There was also some news a couple of weeks ago where Blizzard was exploring like merging the CDL and OWL franchises so that instead of like Boston Breach and Boston Uprising, they would just be Boston Breach and they would have 2 teams. But at that point, it's like, why the fuck wouldn't you just say, this is the Oxygen Esports team, and this is FaZe Clan's team, and this is, Cloud9's team, instead of whatever the made-up franchise names are? How do you feel about the franchise, like the city franchise model? Do you just feel like it's not worth ever doing something like that, or do you kind of like, or do you still hope that there's some kind of hope for that?
So yeah, interesting enough. I personally like the franchise model. I don't like the city-based model. I think that is very old school and outdated, and a bunch of old heads that jumped into gaming probably thought of it's like, oh, New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys, those are teams that will stand the millennium. It's like, well, in gaming, when it's all, like young 30s and 20-year-olds and teenagers, it's like they see FaZe Clan, they see Optic Gaming, they see Oxygen Esports, they see those companies, and that's all they know. Yeah. When you're adding another layer on top to try and bring old heads who are not the demographic, in general, you're just making it harder and harder for people to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me personally, I think the franchise model can work. I think obviously the buy-in was way too much. I think all the salaries and the pricing of everything needs to be dropped. Obviously, everyone was sprinting too hard out of the gate in, a marathon, and after a mile and a half, everyone's dead. Yeah, so we, we're kind of running out of money when it comes to esports. I think the Overwatch is very different than Call of Duty due to Overwatch. I think the game itself is a big issue to why this is happening, where they bring in Overwatch 2 and nothing's really changed. They also just have the same game mode. They have the same game mode, to my knowledge, where it's just like the payload push, and it's still like 6v6, and it's crazy, and I don't know what the heck's going on half the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this when Overwatch 2 came out, which was like, this is the biggest problem with Overwatch and watching it, which is like, what the fuck am I watching right now? What am I watching? I have no clue what's going on. And it's like, you made a good point with a lot of like these the younger audience that's watching it. I mean, we're pretty much like the old men in the mountain when it comes to like watching esports and stuff like that. I mean, kind of like the original generation of, people that it was targeted at. But, like, you're ripping off the most recognizable part of these teams, which is the organization name. So, to new fans, sure, it might make sense to be like, let's call it Boston Breach, Boston Uprising. So it's a brand new city-based franchise that like people who have never even heard of it can latch onto. But it almost feels like it makes no sense to. It feels like you're going backwards because you've spent all this time building up Optic, FaZe Clan, Cloud9, CLG, shit like that, like all Liquid, like all these franchises that anybody who actually cares about esports in the first place already know and can identify with, for the sake of creating a brand new made up like white label on front of it. It's almost like Costco like white labeling vodka or bourbon or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like you're putting a label on there that you think people will be more confident in, but in reality, it's like, oh, I didn't know that Jim Beam made this bourbon. Why wouldn't you just fucking call it Jim Beam? Yeah. Why'd you put a different name on it? I would have bought it even sooner. You know what I mean? And that's the best esports analogy that you're going to get on a podcast this week, so you're welcome. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah,
I hope the Call of Duty League stays. Obviously that's probably the next one out. Salaries are being renegotiated, and a lot of things are being dumbed down. I think they're allowing organizations to pay a little less. I think now. I think they're working the franchising
we'll give you a
thing right now. The unfortunate thing is Hector Rodriguez Hex from Optic just let slip that it's officially going to YouTube. He actually released it today, or let it slip today. Yeah, Call of Duty League is heading back to YouTube after a much more successful year on Twitch with all the watch parties from Zuma, Scump, Methods, and just other creators. So
that is unbelievable. I mean, this is probably Google being like, hey, here's a massive bag that you actually can't turn down because your league is not more profitable than you thought it was going to be. But at the same time, it's like you are alienating your viewer base, so hopefully it compensates for that.
I think also reasoning might be the new Twitch guidelines with the sponsorships and stuff. That might also have been into effect as well. So I kind of didn't think about that, but it's very unfortunate because more people are just going to watch it on Twitch than YouTube, and that's just a fact.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't usually watch YouTube as much. I mean, we're live on both YouTube and Twitch right now, so I mean, do with that information what you will. But I don't. Like, I usually just, if I want to watch something gaming related, I just find myself more on Twitch. Also, little extra tidbit there, because I got this email before the podcast came up. YouTube Premium is increasing their rate again to like almost $20 a month. It's $18.99 a month. You might as well just make it 20 at that point, and that's fucking insane. So if you want to watch ad-free CDL, $20 a month. You might as well just get NFL Red Zone. Or like NHL Center Ice or something like that. That's insane. That's an insane price tag. I'm canceling that shit. $20.
Did you have it before? You had it before?
I've had it, dude. I've had it since it came out.
Yeah.
I've probably ignored it because I get money. I get, daddy's, bringing in the bacon. So I wasn't bothering me. But now that it's creeping up on $20, come on, dude. You don't have The Sopranos on YouTube. Give me a fucking break. It's not TV. It's HBO. But yeah, no, that's ridiculous. That shit should not cost more than like a premium cable package or some shit like that. And don't get me wrong, if I end up getting to a point where I will not be allowing my kid to watch YouTube at any fucking time in life, maybe when he's like 10, maybe I'll re-up YouTube Premium so I don't have to hear Target ads every 15 seconds. But speaking of things that we're going to hear for about 15 seconds, let's listen to some voicemails, huh?
Okay. Need advice? Pick up that phone and talk to a dick.
For sending us a little bit of product. Not for product placement. I haven't placed it on screen. But I'm just saying, Sam. DMs are still open, my boy. All right, here we go. First caller. What do we got? And let's see if we can get it to work. Oh. The way it just went up in volume.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's TIGGY, your phone guy. You two are looking incredible, spectacular tonight. Yeah. Anyways, first things first, I gotta wish a belated happy birthday to Roar Nor in the chat. Happy birthday. Then, a little hypothetical. Obviously I know
Matt in the TikTok chat was good. Thank you for joining.
But if you could have any job in the esports realm, what What do you think you'd excel at, or what would you just want to do in the esports realm? If that was a possibility full time, yeah. Love you guys. Keep going, dog.
What would I do? Any job in the esports realm, what would I do? I mean, give me a, the stage guy. Give me the stage announcer. You know what I mean? What's his name? What's his name on CDL? The guy who intros the teams and stuff. Make me like the Bruce Buffer of esports. That's the role that I want. What about you, Tiggy?
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. I love, the big announcement, the big show. I think being an analyst would be incredibly cool to just be on the desk in between matches, talk about the highs, talk about the lows, get into the nitty gritty, get into their personal lives and say, hey, he had a bad thing of pasta primavera last night. I saw him in the toilet for much of the night. We'll see how he comes out firing this morning.
Yep.
I think that'd be just incredible to add some funny segments and stuff. So I think that'd be awesome.
All right. So it is. Here we go. Last voicemail. What do we got?
What is up, WGG Sam and Papa Dom and TIGGY? I hope you guys are all doing well. Long time no voicemail. My question this week is, if you were to take out any console, take out any game, just to get that nostalgia hit, what would it be? For me, I have to go with the original Kingdom Hearts. I'd possibly maybe throw in Kingdom Hearts 2 in there, but definitely Kingdom Hearts 1 for sure. Let me know, guys. Much love as always. Peace.
All right. So I can't say Super Mario RPG anymore because it's coming out. We're getting the remake. So I'm gonna say Golden Sun for Game Boy Advance. Give me a Golden Sun remake. I think that would make me very happy. So what about you, Tiggy?
I think that'd be cool. Yeah. I would love. I mean, just the old Call of Duties are just bringing back so much nostalgia. But I don't want to say anything of that. I think I'd love to do. Was it remake or remake of a game to feel nostalgia?
So, yeah, I think that was the point. Yeah.
Yeah, the remake of an old game, or just to play the old game in general. I'd love to play James Bond Nightfire. I think that'd be awesome if they don't update a little bit of the graphics, make it legit, like aim down sight, first person stuff. That'd be awesome. I think I love the James Bond series. I played Nightfire a lot more than was it GoldenEye, right? GoldenEye.
Yeah,
Goldfire?
I think Nightfire vastly superior to GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Vastly.
I used to play Nightfire, and I would just play on the snow map, and I would just build in bots.
Yeah,
they had an RPG.
Was that the one with the gondolas?
Yeah, with the gondolas too down.
Yes. All day, every day.
So much fun. Give me
All
those
day.
maps.
Yeah, give me the gondolas on Nightfire. I can't. It was like a ski resort, wasn't it? Or am I making that up?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No.
Dude, I knew I had that shit on I had that shit on lock. Yeah. Thank you guys for the voicemails. Once again, if you want to listen to your own voicemail and see what we have to say about it live on the show next week, leave us a voicemail. It's 617-701-7678. That's 617-701-7678. Leave us a voicemail, and we will listen to it and live react on the show. And now, without further ado, we are going to be landing that train. All right, Tiggy, you are our guest of honor once again. The runway is yours, my friend. Shout out whoever you want to shout out. Plug whatever you want to plug. Take it away.
Absolutely. I just want to thank Dom first as well. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity again. Happy to oblige. I love being in here. I love just chopping up with you. I love doing all I can here for the WGG brand. Want to shout out my girlfriend, naturally. Shout out my friends, my families, my haters. Shout out the Juice Box podcast. Doing some stuff over there. And yeah, that's about it. You can find me on Twitter at Tiggy Nation, TIGGYNATION. I post a lot of dumb gaming stuff, post a lot of awesome Tom Cruise stuff, and occasionally some golf streams and stuff like that. So
Yes, sir. Big shout out to Tiggy. Big shout out to everybody who left a voicemail, including Tiggy and JB. Big shout out to everybody that's been in the chat today. Really appreciate you all. Shout out to Bryland. Hope that you're doing good out there in Arkansas. Woo pig. Hope that you're doing good. Hope that the Razorbacks are treating you well out there. And yeah, and shout out to everybody who's been listening, man. We really appreciate it. It's been a tough week. It's been a tough week. I will not lie to you there. It has been a tough week. I know that both myself and Bob have our work cut out for us as family men these last couple weeks. But we really appreciate you guys listening and hanging out. And we're not going to leave you hanging. We'll by hook or by crook, we'll be there every Friday morning or every Thursday night or Wednesday night with the podcast. So we appreciate you guys sticking around. And for those of you who haven't already, make sure that you're subscribing on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. This has been yet another episode of Not Another Gaming Podcast. We love you so much. And we'll see you next week.